Hello, good evening. Are we recording? We are recording. Fabulous. It is, what is it? 6 o'clock on Friday evening, the 23rd of September. Wow, this is like a proper diary. Apologies for the dishevelled look. I've been up since 4:30 because my daughter just decides to wake up and I haven't had a chance to shower and I feel disgusting. But we're back for another one of these. Once again, if you want to listen to this in podcast format, just link, bio, all that. This episode, video, podcast, whatever, is not going to be like crazy related to the big London project, but it's much more about just the brand, me, how I'm dealing with things, progress, lack of progress, etc. And I figured that unless I keep this up, there's a bigger chance of me slipping and not maintaining it. So I figured I'll just keep it going. Also, you can't really see actually. There's a travel cot there because I had Daisy here today. But yeah, I've just been writing notes on my phone like throughout the week. So there's kind of just some like linear notes I've got here. It might not be interesting to a lot of you, but I just figured this is how it's going to be for a while. So I just thought I'd go through it. This time last week actually I suffered my first proper dip of motivation, like significant. I had a really bad couple of days, just mentally. Bloggy and Keelan went down to Brighton for a few days prior to the Star thing, which meant I was kind of here alone. Sometimes that's completely fine. Other times it really gets in. I don't know. I like having people around to work with. I mean, I like spending time alone as well, but in an environment like this where I'm used to like a productive environment and everyone's there and we can kind of bounce things back and forth, it feels a little bit lonely sometimes. And also then I find myself doing kind of everything with regards to orders and stuff like that. Whereas obviously when Bloggy's here, sometimes he'll help out with those depending on what he's doing. And especially on Friday, I had Daisy here. So Daisy goes to daycare most of the week, but on Fridays it's me and her, and I've got it set up pretty good so she can come in. But like I'm trying to get the orders out because I want the orders to go out because was it on Monday the Queen's funeral? Yeah, I think like they needed to go out basically. Like we try and get them out every single day. And I've got Daisy here and I'm like trying to be a good dad, and it's like that balance is tough. Being an operator is I think the thing. There's a book called The E-Myth, and it talks a lot about building systems in businesses and things, and how it's very, very easy to get trapped as like is it the operator? I think it's the operator, where you get stuck in the business rather than working on the business, kind of fulfilling the day-to-day things, when ideally you should scale a business to the point where you as the owner, manager, etc. should be able to kind of delegate those roles and then work on the things that are actually, like me doing the orders every day does not take the business forward. Like making content, marketing stuff, like expanding the brand, that takes the business forward. So it can feel like a bit of a monotonous treadmill, and that starts to like get into the head, and then and we had the training department release, which went live, and I was using like a scheduling system to like auto schedule some Instagram content and stuff like that, and the I don't know if it was just the software I was using, but like there was just a load of stuff I put out and it got zero traction. Like, I mean, putting up a post, I never really care and really look at Instagram views and stuff like that, but I'm talking like you upload a reel and it gets 100 views in a number of hours. Like it feels like you've just done it to no one. So the initial part of that release, like that evening, didn't go crazy well, and I was like, oh fuck, and it just really knocked me. And yeah, I think, am I going to be honest? Yeah, I spent a portion of that evening. I don't know. I immediately fall into like a very negative, like depressed headspace, because I think I've found it very hard to detach the brand and my mental health can be very much affected by the state of the brand, which is not healthy. It's not sustainable. It's not good. But I spent a portion of that evening just being like, what's the fucking point? Like, I'll just fucking, do bad things. But obviously I didn't. And I'd never really anyway. The thing that sucks is like, because of the current cash flow issues, we're having to be very reactive. We're having to be very scrappy. We're having to be very like constantly trying to do something to kind of keep consistent revenue coming in, which it's not fun. It's so much nicer to have a bit of that, like that breathing space, and spend, you know, a month or two really working on like a campaign for something and building up that hype and releasing that. And it's really hard to do that. But when you normally do that, you kind of find yourself, you know, taking a bit of the gas off the day to day. And because there's only, we're limited in how many people we have and what we can do with our sort of man hours and things, it's hard to keep up the day to day and also build hype for bigger things. And I'll come on to some stuff that's coming in the future, aside from obviously the big London project. But that's always tough because it doesn't feel fun to just be constantly trying to play catch up and like doing what you need, like, oh fuck, we'll just try and, you know, get a bit more hype, get something else out, do this, do that. Like, we don't want to be doing sales all the time, and we want to release, like, if people probably notice, we've massively expanded the amount of stuff on the website. I mean, we're very limited by colors at the moment because of where we get our blanks from, which sucks because we want to put out more color, but because of COVID and supply chain issues, there's still like massive shortages. But yeah, we wanted to expand our range because we don't like people at jams, you know, everyone wearing the same t-shirt. People want to have the access to different things, but it just feels a bit shit trying to always play catch up. It really gets tough. Yeah, it shouldn't. None of it should matter. Effectively, it really shouldn't matter. I have a beautiful daughter. Not being able to provide makes me feel like shit though, and that's the thing. Is like, it kind of all comes back to it's. I can go through times where I detach myself and I have amazing times with Sarah and Daisy and things like this, and I feel great. But there's always that voice in the back of my head, like, fuck, you need to step this thing up. You need to fix this thing. I think I had my haircut in this t-shirt. I've been having an itchy neck all day, and I think I last had my haircut. I get really, I feel it loads. And yeah, so I've got this feeling that if I can't achieve what I want, if the whole thing fails and I abandon people like Keelan, then I'll be exiled from the community, and as a result, lose the few friends I have left. And that's like a very legitimate fear that pops into my head. And it was somewhat relieved, if that's the word, but like, I went to the Star thing, and I'll go on to that in a minute. And I remember how many amazing people I am close to and how many people I have amazing conversations with. But there are times when I do feel very lonely, and fuck me, this is just some boo-hoo video episode thing. It's cheaper than therapy, though, isn't it? Don't have to pay for this. I do have this fear that, like, if the whole thing goes under and I'm like, sorry, Keelan, I've been, like, dragging... He's the big one. Bloggy's obviously slightly newer, but Keelan's been, like, involved and keen and trying to help out for years now. And if the whole thing did go under and I lost and I was unable to, like, help him, given that for the last however many years I've been like, come on, let's, like, we'll get this thing. And he's put in so much. Like, right now, he's knocked out so many videos recently. He's fucking killing it. It would feel like betrayal. I'd feel like I'd betrayed him. And then I'd feel like everyone was like, you fucked up. Like, you don't deserve a place. That's the thing. It's like, I'm like, shit, do I deserve a place in this community if I can't sustain this? And I know now people will probably comment like, oh yeah, but you've done amazing videos and you've already had a big impact. And it's like, I don't know. You can see where my head goes, hopefully. But yeah, all this then led on to, like, the Stora comp, which honestly, like, Saturday night, Sunday morning, whenever it was, I really wasn't keen on going. Like, massive amounts of social anxiety, comparison of being like, oh great, now I've put these videos out, a lot of people are aware of this stuff. Like, that first video's had like 2,000 views or something, which is kind of scary because it felt quite vulnerable, as does this, I guess. But this is becoming more natural because I'm just fucking waffling. But yeah, there's that comparison to Stora and others and everything, and the comparison that I think people probably have of myself to others and things, and that was scary. And then I got fat. I didn't get fat. I obviously, like, a couple of months ago, got really, really lean. I definitely took it way too fast. I looked great, but it was, like, unsustainable. And then I've kind of pulled back a bit, and I'm not chubby or anything, but it feels like when I went to Greece for the Art of Motion, I was getting showered. I've never had it in my life, like, showered with compliments. Like, people like Dom being like, you look amazing. And I was like, this is sick. And it was unsustainable, and I've kind of let it slip a bit. And I need to get back on the exercise and things. But there was a part of me that was like, oh, great. You might get somebody who's a bit more jovial, pokey fun and be like, oh, you're looking a bit chubby or whatever. And then it's like, honestly, that would just fucking be sad. Like, I'd be pissed off at myself. And I've got like, I mean, I wrote this stuff before I went to the Stora thing, and I've got like, I feel out of place. I feel like I used to be welcome and in the same level as on the same level as a lot of my friends. Now I feel like I'm lagging behind and embarrassing and stuff like this. So I had all these thoughts, and I was fucking really not keen. And I went because obviously I fucking have to. And in hindsight, it was an incredible event, and I had amazing talks, and amazing talks with people that I wouldn't expect. And it turns out a lot more people are watching these videos than I thought, or a lot more people that I maybe care about are watching them. Not that I don't care about you, generic person, but, you know, friends are friends and things. And yeah, 90% of what I was worried about was completely fucking stupid. So yeah, I think that's it. If there's anything to be learned for anyone else who has kind of those anxieties and things, it's like you do just have to like face the fear and dive in. And yeah, I genuinely had a lot of good talks about what I've been saying, the position we're in, and also the big project, and everything. So it was fucking sick. And Keelan knocked out that video, and that's performing really well. Obviously, it was. You know, there was not a tactic, but we were like, well, if we try and get one out before Stora, then we can capitalize on some of that. And it sounds sort of shitty to say that, but it's like that. It's clearly worked. We've had like 40,000 views in 24 hours on that, which is way above average for us. And Keelan's got 2 other amazing training videos that he's like finishing right now. So we're the YouTube game is ready to be pushed back again now that, not back, as in we're stepping that up, especially now that Keelan's off Soul, which I'll go on to in a minute, but that feels positive. I mean, basically since Sunday, things have felt considerably more positive. Just to touch on Sunday, like, it did give me the idea that if we couldn't get a pop-up shop sorted, or even what's it called? Like a placement in someone else's store. We could always do something the equivalent of a London Jam and then like rent out a bar or whatever Stora did, that kind of thing, and like rent somewhere out for an evening or a day and host a pop-up in there, because Capstone did their pop-up in there. And it obviously wouldn't be quite the magnificent vision that I want to do, but it's like, especially with regards to the pop-up, I'm kind of setting goals of things, and it's like, well, that's the one where we might not hit the top thing. I would love to. That's my big ambitious goal, but we shall see. And yeah, so Tuesday, obviously Monday was, funeral, boo-hoo, all that. I just spent the day with Daisy and feeling a bit hungover. Tuesday was our shipping software went down, so we couldn't get any orders out. Well, we couldn't get the bulk of them out, and I spent the majority of the day doing something that I've done numerous times sort of in the past, but I really got down to like the granular shit and built out like a proper cash flow forecast of our kind of current situation. I mean, none of it was surprising, but it was like using this software that puts it on nice like graphic based charts rather than like spreadsheets. I fucking hate spreadsheets. They're so like hard to see, but when you've got things in graphs and charts and stuff like that, and did some like scenario planning. And what have I got here? Painted a pretty bleak picture would be the truth. I used like last year's sales as some projection scenarios, which last year's sales weren't like crazy great for us. But it's better to use like previous year's sales and be realistic rather than putting on some massive multiple of like, next year we'll double our sales. It's like, well, you might, but also you might not. Unless we do some sort of turning around of things and other stuff like that, then things don't necessarily look great. But then things, I don't know. I like, what have I got? Like, the weird thing is that I feel weird. Like, it's so fucking weird. I don't know if it's just complete idiotic naivety or if it's that like delusional confidence that you need to keep pushing through a scenario like this. But I have this weird belief that everything will be fine. And sometimes I'm like, you're an idiot for thinking that. And there might be people who right now are being like, Giles, you're a fucking idiot. But also I'm like, if I didn't have that belief, then I think I would have already given up. It's like, I've got to just keep grinding to get out. there's obviously like, I mean, different scenarios we were sort of mapping out and things, and obviously more revenue, good, more digital revenue, i.e. whether that's YouTube or selling films. I mean, YouTube is the one that I was saying to the guys the other day, if we imagine a tap that we can turn on and it essentially creates revenue, our YouTube tap is like a drip. It's like blip, blip. But we've had times where we've kind of gone like that with fairly minimal effort, just putting out more videos, and it starts to come out more. Obviously, we have comparisons to sort of people like Stara, who their tap is in fucking probably a waterfall, I don't know. But that's one of those things for us where it's like, well, actually, if we just double down on that, not only is that marketing, i.e. we're pushing out, I mean, all the feedback I've had on these videos from you guys has been like, we need more presence, and we're so aware of that. We're so aware of that, and that's exactly now what we're focusing on. It's just not like diving down the viral rabbit hole of trying to make viral stuff or anything like this, but just trying to rebuild that parkour presence, get some of the characters from Motus that in there, and use that as a kind of hopefully a bit of a springboard. And if a viral opportunity to do a water challenge or something like that comes about, we'll probably take it. And obviously, as you've seen from last week's video, like if the opportunity to sort of sit on Star's shoulders and sort of tag them in the title or the name, that's obviously advantageous. And I know that they've like, I've literally heard Callum say like they're keen for other people to do that given the opportunity. So we need to do stuff like that, really, because if we can turn that YouTube tap on a bit more and get some more consistent like digital revenue, that would obviously help things. And then clothing wise, we've got a lot of like collab. So what we're trying to move Motus towards in the next sort of, not even just few months, like just for the foreseeable future, is we want to be collaborating with more people and shining more of a spotlight on artists and things. Like Spiffy Hippie's the big one that we've obviously done quite a lot with this year, and we want to be doing more of that. And we now have like a system in place with the store where we can basically pay these guys a slice of every sale rather than a flat fee up front, which a flat fee up front can be nice because it's guaranteed money in your pocket. But ultimately, if it's a shirt that then goes on to sell, much more than we expected, which does occasionally happen, the artist in turn is actually not so sort of, they could be getting more. The other side of that is if we pay a significant amount in like a flat fee to someone, and then that shirt or product bombs and doesn't sell much, it doesn't help us, and we're in that situation where that kind of money makes a difference. So we're working out this like system with that, and really what we're going to be doing and what you're going to see us doing in this sort of even the next couple of months is dropping more frequent like mini collections, like 2 to 4 pieces, but they'll be very much like in collaboration with Boom. I'm going to rebuild a section of the website that kind of features quite heavily on this, and yeah, it's what we want to do. And hopefully by doing that, we also want to start getting some more collaborations from people like artists outside of the sport and photographers and things like this, and hopefully generate revenue, obviously for the company, but ultimately for the artist and collaborators as well. And there's always going to be teething problems and making sure it all works properly, but that's definitely the goal, because Motus is always meant to have been the kind of community focused brand that's giving back, and when cash is tight, it's really hard to give back. But if we can promote and then also generate revenue that then gets sliced and given to them as well, then that's ideal. So yeah, where are we at? Almost 20 minutes. Sorry, somebody told me off for saying that. It's just I have no idea where time is going. So yeah, big sort of progress was, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. We finally got samples back from our potential new supplier. We don't know for certain if we're actually going to run with that supplier, but what it has proven is that the stuff that Bloggy worked on in-house, we then took that to a factory, and then they've recreated that sort of using their machinery and better fabrics and stuff like this, because we couldn't get some of the fabrics that we wanted to use. And obviously there's going to be tweaks and things that need to be changed, but fucking hell, like easily the best samples we've ever had. Huge steps in the right direction, and very exciting. Everything's still a long way off, and paying for that stuff is always still going to be a hurdle and things like this. But if we can get past this current point that we're in, and sort of get that stuff funded, then I think we'll be heading in a much, much safer direction, because the stuff that Bloggy has made is ultimately fucking incredible. And it's going to be, the idea is to basically create a new foundation for the brand with regards to our product offerings. So in the past, what we've done is we've gone like, oh, Soul Destroyer collection, we'll release 2 t-shirts and they're kind of that cut, and then we'll do another collection and we'll release 2 more t-shirts and they're a different cut and different fabrics and stuff like this. And ultimately you spend so much money in between trying to work out the cut and the fabric of those t-shirts and things. And what we want to do is almost create our own blanks, like our own hoodies, our own t-shirts, and have our trousers, have our foundation, and then tweak and improve those things as the years go by. Obviously some things might get scrapped, some things might improve. Just build on that foundation rather than trying to start from scratch every single time we release a fucking collection. And because we also have printing capabilities in house, one thing that we potentially will be doing is basically buying in bulk our own blanks, and then that gives us more customization on like a smaller scale from a design basis, because we could have our own custom fit hoodie, for example, and do like a limited run of 20 prints or something on them, rather than working with the factory minimums where it might be, a few hundred for prints. So there's a lot of potential there. It's just getting there, really. Like, I feel like we've got a lot of things mapped out that feel like they're all kind of in the right places. It's just getting through this bumpy road. And what do we got? Videos, YouTube. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of everything. And the other thing I was going to say is somebody actually fucking sent me money the other day using the PayPal link in my description, which I shouldn't. It feels weird. I said it in the first video. It feels weird that I've like put it there and mentioned it. But somebody, an incredibly generous person, sent me a bit of money, which I totally didn't expect. And ultimately, I feel very guilty. But I truly appreciate that. Yeah, very bizarre. Like, in some ways, it makes me feel weird, because I'm like, I shouldn't be in that position where I'm like, oh, yay, that's actually helped me pay this thing this month or whatever. But that's the truth. But yeah, I appreciate that. And God, does anyone actually watch me just sit here all grisly, feeling disgusting? I don't know. Hopefully. Oh, that's it. So I've already filmed the video for next week. Less of an update. I might still do an update. We'll see how things go. I filmed a video that is my top 5 biggest mistakes that I think I've made in business. And I did it the other day. I wrote out a load of notes, and I think it's quite informative, and I think quite valuable. Like, if you're starting out or new-ish in trying to run a brand, or even a different thing within the parkour space, I think there's definitely some stuff that you might not have thought about that you could learn from. So, yeah, check it out. I don't know when I'm going to drop it yet, but it's all on YouTube and the podcast thing, and I'll just schedule it. And I'm going to try and do a few more videos like that. I think, my top 10 favorite books that have helped me, maybe the things that I think I've done well. I don't know, like there's sort of business related topics that I think I've got some knowledge in that I could put into this format. Who the fuck is coming in the fucking door behind me? No one. Blogging Keelan here. I think we're going to do some training and stream on Twitch. I've also been streaming on Twitch a bit, purely because it's something that I just want to see if it gains any traction. Kind of doing like a Giles Compiles type thing where I watch videos and not react to them, but I guess that's the truth, is that they're not. Are they reaction videos? I don't know. But maybe that'll go somewhere. It would be cool to sort of bring back Giles Compiles in a slightly more convenient format where I can just hit this camera and watch some stuff and react. And also, I don't watch that many parkour videos anymore, so it's a good excuse to watch some fresh stuff and even some old stuff and enjoy it. So, but yeah, once again, truly appreciate the feedback, the comments. If you want to get involved, obviously I haven't spoken much about the London project, but the Discord is in the thing, the bio description. We can chat in there. I'm trying to build out a sort of load of people and things. Sorry, I'm rambling now. Yeah, love you lots. Bye. Bye. Where's stop recording there? Bye.